ready.
Oh, that's terrible weather. When will it stop?
I'm afraid it's getting worse.
Be a gentleman, sir. By telephone, girl.
Oh, sorry. I don't have a chain. Oh, here you are, girl. Hey.
You had better give him a flower for his money. Oh, sorry.
Oh, tell me, how is life in Chelsea?
How do you know Afro Chelsea? I'm a fortune teller. Do you know him? Do you know him? Just someone else. Where does he come from?
Gentleman, Cambridge, and India. It is sense of speech, it's simply phonetic. It's my job and also my hobby.
Oh, really?
Yes, I can tell where anyone comes from by the way they speak.
But can you make money doing this?
Oh, it's a good one actually. You see this creature with her terrible English. In just 6 months, I could pass her off as a lady.
I'm serious.
Well, that's very interesting. I'm an expert in Indian dialect myself.
Oh, do you know Colonel Pickering? He wrote a book about Indian dialects.
I am Colonel Pickering. And who are you?
I'm Professor Henry Higgins.
Oh, I came here to visit you.
How wonderful! Come and see me tomorrow. I live at 27A Wimpole Street.
Very well. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Colonel Pickering visited Professor Higgins the next day. The two men sat in Higgins' study and discussed a wide variety of Indian dialects.
Excuse me, Professor. There a young woman here to see you. She's a very common girl.
Oh, this is girl I met last night. I have already written about her accent. Get out, girl. I don't want you here.
Don't you be so rude to me. You ain't heard why I come here yet. I come to have a license. I am.
Oh, just sit down, please. So, what do you want?
Oh, it's to be a lady. I am. So here I am and ready to pay him for license.
What is your name?
Eliza Doolittle.
Oh, Higgins, I have an idea. You are the greatest teacher alive. Do you think you can make this girl into a real lady to the ambassador's party?
I don't know.
Well, I'll bet all the expenses you can do it. And I'll pay for her lessons.
Oh, I shall do it. I shall make this awful creature into a lady. In just 6 months, I make believe people that she is Dutch. Mrs. Pierce, take her to the bathroom and clean her, and burn her clothes and wrap her in the brown paper until the new one comes.
I haven't got anywhere to put her, sir.
Then put her in a dustbin.
Oh, Professor, you don't know nothing about this girl. She may be married. Married? Who's married me?
My word, Eliza, there will be a queue of men waiting to marry you until I finished with you.
Oh, Professor, to be sensible. What will happen to this girl after your experiment?
Oh, so she can stay with me for the next 6 months, and after this she can go everywhere she likes and do anything she likes.
Are you going to pay her wages? And when will she go in after your experiment?
Oh, she can stay. She shall stay with me for the next 6 months and learn to speak beautiful. And after this, we shall go to the ambassador's ball. And if she pass off as a lady, she can start a life as a lady in a flower shop. And what do you think?
I think you would let me speak to her in private. Professor, we have another problem now. There Mrs. Doolittle here to see you. She says you have her daughter.
Oh, very well. Send her in.
Mrs. Doolittle, sir.
Professor Higgins, here. Do sit down.
I come a very serious matter. I want my daughter.
Okay, I don't want to keep your daughter from you.
Eliza sent a boy for her things. And he told me what have happened. So I'm here to find out what's going on.
Take your rail right now.
Now, hold on. I think we can come to an arrangement. After all, what what £5 to you and what Eliza to me?
You mean you want to sell your daughter to us for £5? Have you no morals?
Morals? I can't afford morals. Morals are for the rich. If you were as poor as me...
Okay.
Don't you know your own daughter?
God, Eliza, you look beautifully. Don't I look silly?
Silly, you look amazing.
Oh, Professor, please don't make the girl conceited about herself. Oh, I'll put my coat on. I look all right with my coat on.
Mrs. Doolittle sold Eliza to Professor Higgins for £5. Perhaps they didn't realize that there are some things money just can't buy. 4 months passed. Eliza worked with Professor Higgins, learning to speak the English language the way a lady would speak it. And it was hard work. Eliza often became frustrated and angry. So, however, one day Professor Higgins decided that it was time to test Eliza by introducing the class in his mother's house.
Good afternoon, Mother.
What are you doing here, Henry? You know, this is the day when I want people to cheat, and then you hurt all my friends.
Nonsense.
You do. You say the wrong things to them, and then they never want to visit me again.
Oh, sorry, Mother, but you know I'm not good at small talk. Anyway, there is a girl I want you and your friends to meet.
Oh, Henry, do you mean that you're falling in love? At last.
Oh, no. She's a common flower girl. I picked up her at the street and I teach her to speak properly. And I want her to meet other upper classes.
Oh, Henry.
It will be quite safe. I taught her to speak only about weather or somebody's health. It will be quite safe. Yeah.
So you say she speaks properly now?
Yes, but the trouble is you have to think not only about how she says and also what she says.
What do you mean, Henry?
Good afternoon. How do you do?
How do you do? This is my son, Henry.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Call now. Let me introduce you to the Answer Hills.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Where is Eliza? What on earth we are going to talk until she comes?
How do you do?
She's look amazing, isn't she?
She's stunning.
Oh, Mother, this is Eliza.
How do you do?
How do you do? This is Mrs. Uncle Hill and her son, Freddy.
How do you do?
How do you do? Real friend, do you think?
Oh, so it's great change in the birth medical situation.
Oh,
Oh, what's wrong with that young man? I bet you got it right.
It's terribly funny.
Oh,
It is in your slang and you do it so well.
I hope I can cold. My family suffer from influenza with a cold. Oh, my aunt died of influenza. At least they what they said. If you ask me, they did the old woman in. Did her in? What on earth do you mean, my dear?
it's in your slang. It means to kill someone.
Do you mean that you think that someone killed your aunt?
Oh, yes, she was as strong as a horse. Oh, sorry, I really must go. Goodbye. Well, I think I can manage, and you think?
Well, Mother, what do you think? Is Eliza a lady?
You see, but of course she's not a lady.
Why even not?
She is beautiful and her pronunciation is perfect, but every word which comes out from her mouth shows that she is still a clever common girl.
Do you think we can do something with her language?
Not while Harry is her teacher. His language is hardly a good example. Where does the girl live?
With us, of course.
I see. But is she a servant? Is she the lady of the house? What is she? Who exactly is Eliza?
I guess I know what you mean.
I don't. All I know is that the girl is useful. She knows where everything is and she knows all of my appointments.
Oh dear, don't you realize that when Eliza walked into Wimpole Street, she brought a problem with her? The problem of what to do once you finish your lessons. She will have all the manners and habits of a fine lady, but she will not have a fine lady's money. What is she to do?
Oh, we'll find her an employment. Don't worry, Mrs. Higgins.
Well, Mother, we must go.
Now it's time to prepare Eliza for the ambassador's party.
The two men only had a few weeks to turn their pupil into a proper lady. They were determined to make most of time they had left, and the big day arrived.
attention everyone looks.
Oh, Eliza, don't forget that you look like one of them, and do your best to sound like one too.
Oh, please, wait for me here until I return from the cloakroom. Professor, do you remember me?
No, I don't. Who else are you?
I am your pupil. I am speaking 32 languages. I am interpreter. I am invited at international parties.
Okay, do you think this fellow can recognize Eliza and blackmail her?
We shall see. If he finds out, I will lose my bet.
Okay, we will talk later. It was so nice to see you after all these years. Goodbye.
How do you do? How do you do? How do you do?
I wonder who is a real lady. Have you seen her before?
She looks stunning, doesn't she? Your English is perfect.
How do you do?
Your English is perfect. You sound a little bit Victorian.
She looks like a real lady. Let's draw closer. How do you do?
How do you do?
All the foreigners who had been taught to speak English speak it so well.
I say that it is a common girl taught to speak by an expert.
Oh no,
I can't believe it.
it's impossible.
It can't be true.
It was midnight, but Professor Higgins and Colin Pickering were wide awake, and they had just returned from a very busy day.
Oh, what a night. First the ambassador's ball, then the opera.
Yes, but we didn't Pickering. We convinced everyone that Eliza is a lady. What a silly people. At last I can go to bed without dreading tomorrow.
Oh, I think I shall turn in too. Good night.
Good night. Oh, what on earth have I done with my slippers?
Here your slippers.
What? What's the matter?
Oh, what's wrong with that? I'm nothing to you.
And you don't want my bed. And why do you throw the slippers at me? And how on earth do I know what is going to happen to you?
Just tell me something. Do my clothes belong to me?
Yes, of course, they belong to you. What would Pickering or myself do with them?
Scenka, I just want to know what you can take with me.
You can take anything that you want except of jewels, their height. Are you satisfied?
I just want to be sure. Oh, there is not height. It is the one you bought to me. I don't want it. It's all yours.
Oh, Eliza, you make me lose my temper. I'm going to bed, and I will see you tomorrow.
You'd better leave for Mrs. Spears the coffee in the morning.
The next morning, Professor Higgins and Colin Pickering were extremely upset to find that Eliza disappeared, and Higgins decided to visit his mother to help find Eliza.
Look, Mother, the terrible thing has happened.
Oh dear, what is it?
Eliza disappeared.
Well, perhaps you upset her.
Yeah, no, we didn't. She just left without any explanation. What am I to do?
Well, there's nothing you can do. The girl has a right to leave if she chooses.
But I can't find anything. I'm in mess without Eliza.
Oh, no luck with the police, Henry. They just make things more complicated.
Have you called the police? Because if Eliza were a lost umbrella, you should have no more sense than two children. But if you really want to know where Eliza is, she's upstairs.
Upstairs, right?
Wait a minute, Henry. You need to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say.
Oh, all right. What is it?
Eliza came to me this morning and told me of the terrible way you two treated her.
That is nonsense.
He's right, Mr. and Mrs. Higgins. I'm certain we didn't do any unkind to Eliza yesterday, but Higgins, tell me, did you bully her after I went to bed?
No, I didn't. She bullied me. She threw my slippers at me.
Why would she do things like that?
I will tell you why. Eliza worked very hard for you, and yet you didn't give her one word of praise.
Well, perhaps we were a little thoughtless. Where is she?
Well, she won't go back to Wimpole Street.
Oh dear.
But if you promise to behave yourselves, I shall ask you to come down and to talk to you.
Of course, we'll behave ourselves.
Oh, yes. Tell Mrs. Doolittle to come downstairs.
Eliza!
Oh,
How do you do, Colin Pickering? How do you do,
Eliza.
Mr. Higgins?
you look like a real lady.
Oh, there's no difference between a lady and a flower is Shelley, like a flower girl and always will. But to Connell and Pickering, I shall always be a lady, because she always treats me like a lady and always will.
But will you forgive Higgins and come back home?
He only wants me back to pick up his slippers. I'll marry Freddie in Sword Hill. He writes me to 2 or 3 days times a day. He truly loves me.
That young fool? He couldn't even get a job as an errand boy. How will you live?
I'll work, I'll go and be a teacher.
Oh, really? What you will teach?
I'll teach phonetics.
I like you like this, Eliza. You are full of strength, and I have made you into the woman at last. Oh, by the way, I want you to buy some things for me.
I cannot imagine what to do without me.
What makes a lady?
Is it breeding?
Is it grace?
What makes a lady?
Is it something in her face?
Is she a lady?
If your accent isn't right,
Is she a lady? If she's not always polite.
The answer is simple.
just what is she to you? The way that you treat her will soon distinction through.
Treat her like a lady and you will realize that you will see a lady when you look into her eyes. Алена Игоревна Аскалина Пикеринг.
Sonia as Eliza Higgins. Eliza.
Daria is Mrs. Doolittle. Celia as Mrs. Ansford Hills. Elisa as Mrs. Higgins. Kate as Mrs. Pierce. Lisa as Professor Higgins.